Hi, I'm Dan from Healthy Harvest. So we're going to be running a rocket mass heater workshop in a couple of weeks time. We've still got 2 spots left. I've already built the core of the rocket heater. You may recognize this type of thing, or you may not, but this is basically the engine of the rocket mass heater. You won't see this when the thing is built, but in its current form you could cook on this. So this is made from ceramic fiber, and it takes a while to sort of burn out some of the rice binder. It's a starch binder that's used to make it. So I've already done that. That made it quite smoky. So I've got another camera here so you can see inside, and I'm gonna try and light this thing up and hopefully not wibble this camera around a little bit too much. I'm just going to put glasses on because it's a bit glary out here. The first thing you got to do when you're lighting a rocket mass heater is you've got to warm this chimney up, and you have to warm a chimney up with any kind of combustion heater. It needs to be the chimney needs to be warmer than the internal part, so it will suck out. This works just like a chimney in your house. So what we do is we put that inside and we tuck that under what's called the burn tunnel, and we get a lighter and just light this paper. And as you can see, the flame's coming up at first, but soon it should start to go under. It starts to suck underneath. Now that's getting draw into the chimney. You can see a little bit of smoke that's coming from the paper. So now that's done, we can stick some more paper in and kind of light as we would normally, using some tinder. I've got some bark here off a eucalyptus. As you can see, there's no smoke coming out of this really. The only thing that's coming out is ash. Let's start putting in some bits of wood now. It's pretty windy today, so it's struggling a little bit. So while I'm doing this, I'll talk about what we're going to do on the workshop. So I'll probably build 1 or 2 of these made from brick rather than the fiber board. Just using clay just to show you how we can make them. I may make a template to make it easier using wood that you can build around, and I can give you the dimensions of that. If you want to build one of these yourself and you can't come to the workshop, this was designed by a guy in Washington State in America called Matt Walker, and you can check him out at walkerstoves.com, I believe it is. A simple Google of Walker Stoves will get you there, and he's got about 10 or 15 designs that he's done of various rocket mass heaters and cooktops batch box burners, a few other things, really cool stuff. Please go and support him. So like I say, yeah, we'll probably build a couple of those, and we'll also put together the mass heater that we're going to do, which is a masonry mass heater. And that should really take up the whole weekend. On Friday night, we're just going to have a bit of a little session out here around the fire, make a little fire pit out of some disused metal drums, oil drums from a restaurant. And then on Saturday we'll get started on the mass heater. Some people will be learning to cut bricks with chisels and hammers and with saws, and go through all the different tools that you're going to use. We'll make some clay slip using some reclaimed clay, and we'll also be making some clay mortar as well, using some bagged products, so we can control the recipe and the consistency a little bit more. When I'm using the mortar for an indoor project, I really want to be sure that my mix is consistent and it's not going to crack, leak and put carbon monoxide into a building. So I'm going to be using bagged products for that. But I really hope you can make it. Like I say, on the website we're on Eventbrite, and I'll put a link below to it. We're only going to have 5 or 6 people. I really want to keep this super intimate, and we've got space for you to camp. If you want, you can camp on one of our terraces. We've got a shed in here with a shower and a toilet for you to use, and I hope to see you here. As you can see now, this thing's really starting to kick off. By the way, these bricks are just to sort of protect the ceramic fibre. The ceramic fibre is really soft. It's sort of like polystyrene consistency. Like you can snap it with your finger and you can dent it. So inside this burn tunnel here is some fire brick to protect that from being damaged. And like I said before, this is going to be covered now. This will be completely encompassed in clay brick, like this old reclaimed brick, and this riser won't be covered in brick. This will stay as it is, but it will be inside a masonry cover. Now you may have seen rocket mass heaters on YouTube or whatever, and they're generally pretty large objects. Now by using the ceramic fiber, which is a super high insulative material, Matt Walker, who designed this, has been able to drastically reduce this in size. It may be even possible to build a small mass heater in the same footprint as a combustion heater in a house. Might be a project for the future I'd like to try. One thing that you really notice with a rocket heater is that they really do not like wet timber at all. They will not burn green timber. And some of the wood that I've been burning from my kindling pile here is between 12 and 18 months old, and yet some of it you put in here and you can see the water boiling out of the ends, because it's heating only the bottom part of the fire and pushing the moisture out, sort of like a straw effect, rather than sucking it out. The fire's pushing it up. And you probably wouldn't see that in a combustion heater, because the entire piece of wood goes inside the fire and you don't necessarily see that. But you can see here, this is a piece of pine, I believe, and that's pushing moisture out of the ends. And I'm going to point to it with this. You can see that here as well. And the great thing about rocket heaters and rocket mass heaters is that they use so much less fuel than a combustion heater. In some cases it's 9 or 10 times less, and even on the worst case or best case scenario, when you look at it, even if you have like an ultra high efficiency modern combustion heater, you're still going to use about 3/4 less fuel. And that wood shelter that you've got, well, I hope you've got a wood shelter, because you really need to be drying wood undercover, not exposed to rain. If you've, say, got a wood shelter that can hold 3 or 4 cubic meters, which is a fairly average amount of wood for a cold part of Australia or New Zealand perhaps. I don't know how much wood people are using in New Zealand, to be honest. You're going to find that after you start using a rocket heater, that your fuel use is going to, let's say you're only going to use 1/4 of what you were using before. That now you've basically, that wood shelter, instead of holding a wood for 4 years, is instead of the wood shelter holding wood for 1 year, it's now going to hold wood for 4 years. So by the time you finish year 1, that second year of wood is going to be pretty dry, and by 3 or 4 it's just going to be ridiculously dry, and you're going to be replenishing that. So, and the wood that you can store in your building, so like we use the IKEA Kallax cube units that are often chucked out these days, but they make really good storage, and I make little boxes that go in, and they're the perfect size. That if you can store, say, 1/3 of a cubic meter in your house, that might be enough to get you through winter if you're in a well-insulated building. So yeah, come along, check us out. Check us out at www.healthyharvest.com.au, or get in touch on our Facebook page by the same name. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this build, and I'm pretty excited to be building rocket heaters, and I want to build rocket heaters for other people as well. So we could do that by having workshops at your house, and you can just organize all the materials and I can come to you. I don't really care how far you are. I'm happy to drive and stay over. Happy to camp. If you want to just do it privately, that's cool too. If you're a bit worried about doing this sort of thing inside, then we could build some kind of outdoor seating area with a cooktop over the top of this and a heated bench to keep you warm. Could build it into a greenhouse. Could build it into a hot tub. There's a lot of different things you could do with this technology. I've been collecting wood just from parks and the likes of deadfall and windfall off trees, and I've got about 1.25 to 1.5 cubic meters of that sitting there. Perfect fuel for this. It really enjoys. This is a 6-inch system, which is one of the smaller sizes. Can build an 8-inch system as well. Can take much larger wood, but because of the fuel that I've got available to me locally, and we have just got so much eucalyptus that just drops off trees in nice sizes, that this is the perfect size for that. Reduce splitting, reduce sawing, reduce all this kind of aches and pains of chopping, carrying, sawing massive amounts of large format wood that could, to be honest, be used for a lot better things than burning, like building or carpentry, bowl making, you name it, whatever. Whereas this type of small wood, is just sort of going to waste. It becomes a fire hazard for a lot of people in places like where we live in the Blue Mountains. People don't want it, and this is a great use for it. Okay, thanks for watching, and hopefully we see you soon. Bye.